Greetings. Welcome to the October installment of Rainbow Covenant, Haiku in 3 parts. I'm Haijin Sharifa Meytung, Haijin being a writer of haiku poetry. And in this moment that we share together, I'm basically sharing 3 haiku poems with you, along with 3 pieces of my artwork. So it's a space that I created for us to reflect for a few moments through my haiku, through my artwork, on the world that's around us, our physical world, our spiritual world, our emotional world. Just a moment to take a pause and experience a little poetry together and experience a little artwork together. So let's see what the first piece is. The first piece is called Patchwork. And I had actually written a longer free verse poem entitled Patchwork for another project, for a quilt project that was led by a wonderful artist in Seattle, Washington, Stormy Weber. This particular haiku is based on a different theme, actually. The theme for this haiku is that of migration, that of immigration, and reflecting on the experience that we are having around the ideas of borders. And so the haiku reads, when all the pieces dissolve into one and the borders disappear. When all the pieces dissolve into one and the borders disappear. The feeling hopefully being is kind of like a ... Then what? Kind of a feeling to encourage people to experience that. What would it feel like if and when all the pieces dissolve into one and the borders disappear? And borders here can also be experienced as our emotional borders. So if you see yourself as one person being as if you were a country, and everyone around you that you relate to were other countries or people or migrants, and your borders, your emotional borders, your own fears, or whatever those borders might be, however they manifest for you, what happens when all of that dissolves into one and all of those borders disappear? Then how would you move in your world? And so that's the theme behind this particular haiku, Patchwork. And that's what I'm inviting you to experience. The artwork, my painting here is a 24 by 36 canvas, acrylic paint on canvas. And which came first? I think the painting came first. The painting came first, and then in meditating and contemplating the painting, the haiku arose, Patchwork. When all the pieces dissolve into one and the borders disappear. So that's the first of the 3. The second of the 3 is hashtag Deb Holland is the name of this haiku. As the eagle flies, hope rides on the wings of change. The winds are talking. As the eagle flies, hope rides on the wings of change. The winds are talking. Along with this haiku, there is a collage here that I created. It's a combination of some things. It's a combination of some newspaper clippings that were written after Deb Holland had been sworn in as interior of the department, as secretary of the Department of the Interior for the United States. And actually there's a picture of Deb down at the bottom of the collage here, where, and that picture is actually was taken during her swearing in ceremony. So I superimposed her picture over the colors of the United States flag, red, white, and blue, and running free above her head are these wild horses taken from a coloring book. So for that childlike energy, that pure energy of just thought, of thoughts and wishes and hopes and dreams that I'm sure Deb has, that she's carrying into this position, and also a remembrance. These horses are also representing memory, not just hopes and dreams, but memory. And that's kind of why they're dotted. There are these black dots also, all that just comes from taking paint and just throwing it through a applicator bottle over the picture, and one red dot. It's a couple just random strokes of red and blue, but the dots again representing memories. So as part of what she would like to see for the future, of course, is what she's bringing from the past. And so down here in the corner too, there, this is taken from a newspaper clipping when Deb, she took a trip to see some art in public spaces. And so that's part of her work too. And I am curious to see what the result of her being in this position will be as it relates to seeing art, seeing culture in public spaces. As the eagle flies, hope rides on the wings of change. The winds are talking. That third line from the haiku, the winds are talking, of course, is a reflection on the idea of the wind talkers, the so-called code breakers, the many soldiers in the US Army from the Native American communities that were used at one point to break the so-called codes of other Native speakers during the times of war. Our third and final piece for October is entitled No Ark. No ark like Noah's rests on dry land as we wait for the floodwaters. No ark like Noah's rests on dry land as we wait for the floodwaters. That's the haiku. The painting is also entitled No Ark, an 11 dots painting. And what's meant by an 11 dots painting means that originally on the canvas board, this is a 9x12 canvas board, it's an exercise where you begin by just putting 11 random dots on the canvas or on the painting surface. And so I started off with 11 dots, which eventually get painted over. But in the beginning, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 dots. And then you connect those dots however it manifests for you. And so you can connect them with lines or circles or curves or whatever you're feeling. But there are 11 dots here that I connected in various ways. And then you move into those spaces and you paint those spaces that are created by those dots. And so once this was painted, I originally had another 11 dots poem, haiku, but once I painted the painting, that haiku was not to be found in this particular painting. This particular painting had another haiku within it that arose for me, and that was No Ark. No ark like Noah's rests on dry land as we wait for the floodwaters. And for me, what arises from this haiku is, of course, the state of our environment and the question, are folks waiting for some sort of salvation, that something or someone is going to swoop down and save us from this this chaos that is man-made with our environment. But of course, that's not coming. The challenge and the lesson is, of course, that what we create with our own minds, with our own hands, we can be the remedy for that as well. We are the cause, we create the effects, and we can also mitigate. We can mitigate situations that are of our own making. And so that's what I invite you to do in this moment as well, to reflect on mitigation. What does that look like when you look outwards into your world? What situations are crying out for mitigation? Just like the state of our environment is crying out for mitigation, for us to step into it and to do some remedy. So that's the energy I think that's prevalent for October for me in terms of the artwork, is mitigation. It's being a remedy. It's moving out into the world, seeing what spaces in the world that I engage with, in the way that I engage with it, where the remedies are needed and what mitigation is possible. So I invite you as well to continue on your creative journey, on your artistic journey, just on your life journey, because of course, all life is art. And wherever you see spaces that you can move in with your colors, with your energy, and with your remedies, please do so, because the world needs you. Thank you, and I will see you in November. Peace.